Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for joining us for this live event. The main topic that I chosen for this time is preparing for the Lion's Gate energy, basically preparing for the portal 8-8. And we already can feel the effects of what is happening and what is coming through in our world, and like how can we use this to the best of our ability? Like, what can you do with it? How can you navigate it? Because like for many people, many stuff are coming up, and we're here to try to assist you in how to best navigate this whole situation so you can use it to the best of your ability, basically. Okay, and we also have higher vibrations. Thank you for wearing black as well.
It's really funny. I actually don't choose my clothes. I let it decide and I just grab something. So it's funny that we tend to wear the same color.
Okay, and also in the beginning, I also wanted to mention, if any of you are interested in transmutation, alchemy, the Hermetic arts, you can check out the book that I published kind of a year ago, The Teachings of Thoth, the Atlantean. It's in the description, and it goes into in-depth into these mystery teachings and how you can transform your own experience and be the master creator of your own reality. Yeah. It is very handy in these times that we are living in right now.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of little tidbits in that. I call it like the Emerald Tablets 2.0, that there's the book of spells that I actually post that in my Telegram group. I have a Telegram community that we kind of share things. And that's actually something that's really, really useful right now during this Lionsgate stuff that's happening. There are a couple of them, but one in particular, I think it's called The Keys to...
The Key to Freedom of Mind?
Yes. This one is really a tool of the now, the moment that we're in. We're only 4 days until official Lionsgate peak energies, but we've been experiencing it for a while. You know, that internal critic and that you're harder on yourself kind of stuff is things that's coming up. It's typical for all of us going through this experience, and it's meant to bring it up for you while all of the energies are just perfect. The ground is fertile for healing at this moment. It always is, but just more than normal. And that's why these things are coming up. That particular spell that came from that book has been a groundbreaking assistance for me. It's a technology. You know, and it's not like, you know, you're casting spells and bad kind of weird juju stuff. This is like you are speaking with the archangels present in a certain way, and you're speaking your intention and what you would like to happen, basically. You know, you're opening yourself up and allowing that healing to start to fully occur. For me, it was like a series of locks in a chamber, and I could actually hear all the locks unlocking themselves. It was really a cool experience. And then knowing that each one of those locks was a door that I got to one at a time explore, and a lot of healing happens through that. So, you know, if you have that, it's in your channel, isn't it? On your main page, you can.
Yeah, it's also in the community section. I think I posted it a few weeks or maybe months ago. I'm searching for it right now. Oh, I just found it. Okay. I posted it, it says 1 month ago, so you can check it out. It's an image, and yeah, like if you want, I can read it for anyone who is interested. Yeah. Okay, while you drink your orange juice. Okay, so the spell to freedom of mind. I call upon the seven, call them by name: Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Metatron, Sandalphon, Gabriel, and Azrael. I call thee by vibration. Bring forth thy light from the flower of life. I implore thee, free my soul of the night, banish the phantom of fear, and set me free from the night. Fill my body with the brightness of light, and show me the way to the Great One. Lend me thy strength, lend me thy wisdom, so I may also be a child of the light. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you.
Yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, it's also in the end of the book, and also it's in the community section. You just have to scroll down a bit. I posted it a month ago or so. There aren't as many posts as it used to be.
Right. And then also when you go to Guardian's page, so you just, at the top, there's a banner and it shows like his picture and stuff. There's a link that you can click that will take you to the ebook if you don't have it.
Yeah, you can download it. It depends on like how do you prefer to read. You can download the PDF, and also on Google Books is free. And if you have a Kindle, it's I think 99 cents on Amazon.
Right.
And we don't have paperback, so I still need to expand on that.
Right.
But only after stuff have settled down in the world and I can find a decent publisher in the States for it.
Yes. Well, and I love that it's shared this way because, you know, the only reason there's a charge of 99 cents is that's how the market of Amazon works. He had to charge, you know, every other means it's designed for you to make it available to everyone for free, you know, and creating a book. I love the idea of it, but at the same time, I love that you have it for free for anyone that needs access to it. And there's going to be an audiobook at some point.
Yeah,
too,
that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, it's almost finished. My hope is that at the end of this month or September, I can release it. Cool. And yeah, like I will notify everyone ahead of time, like for a few weeks in advance, so everyone can prepare for the premiere.
Right on.
And
cool.
See how it happens. Yeah, I don't want to rush it. I didn't really have much time to finish it in the past year, basically, but it's turning out pretty nice.
Awesome.
We're cutting together the last parts for the music. We still need to like master the audio for the final version, and it's pretty much done.
Cool.
Can't wait to share it.
That's exciting. And you have a voice that is able to deliver to the soul. Like it's I don't know, it's one of those, at least for me, perhaps because we have had so many incarnations where we've worked together in some way, you know, but I know that most people who hear your voice, either they fall asleep or they're transfixed, you know, and so you have both of those elements because there's that lulling that happens when you want to go into a meditative state. And like the emerald tablets, the on one, that's why I like it so much as well. That's Guardian's favorite too, but yeah, it's that it lulls you. You feel like you're being put into a meditative, like,
yeah, like it completely like shifts your mindset and like puts you in this trance like state. Yeah, like I feel far more connected to the energies of the book. Yeah. I'm not sure like who the guy is who read the book, but he was like bringing through some very intense energies.
Yes. Yeah, it was awesome. Well done. There's something that so if you know, I don't want to take away from your book, and that we should really, if you have that any time to read that, there's some other symptoms that people are having right now. I would like to bring up, if that's okay.
Yeah, like what people are like going through, like we've been talking about this week mainly, like let's share like the information that we have gathered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So we have like, again, Lionsgate I've been sensing Lionsgate for months. You know, there's been a handful of our conversations that have actually been mentioning it. Like, I can't remember the date anymore, but I had said, right now, this feels like what Lionsgate normally feels like. And then it's been increasing. So what I mean by this is what it normally feels like, that was what it normally feels like on the day at the peak of the energy, when it's at that culminating space. And so just, you know, I kind of feel like it's important to put out there that you're not alone, that a lot of us are going through this weird experience, you know, and like some people have experienced it where they've kind of felt like it's a psychic attack almost, because they're feeling this energy. Like the way I can describe it from my own subjective experience is that it felt like almost a pulling of like, not like lower density, but lower frequency than where we are at now, you know. And that's another point to also point out, is that we've been vibrating at a higher frequency than has ever been typical for us in this incarnation. And so when we drop just below where we are right now, it's still much higher than it was months ago. It's just, you're not like digging down into the bottom. It just feels really uncomfortable because you're used to now being at this higher space, and so that tug of that, even depression feeling, some people have described it as depression and just heaviness. Know that this is a temporary experience, that we're moving through this density. What happens with Lion Gate is these things come up that have not been resolved or acknowledged. Have not been acknowledged and are being asked to be seen, and so these things come up in us. And what we normally do, what I've normally done in the past, was push it back down so I can get on about my day. And pushing it back to this place of still ignoring it. And ignoring something like this is giving permission or consent of some kind to keep that energy imprisoned. And that's anchoring energy. That's anchoring us in a space that we're no longer thriving in, and it's simply that we need to let go of the handles of our suitcases so we can go up, and it's letting you see what it is you're holding on to, basically. So I just wanted to make everyone aware that that's going on, because everyone's going through some type of experience similar to that you're not alone. You're okay.
Yeah, like many people maybe who are not spiritually aware or at the beginning of their journey, like can take it very hard because like they don't know like what the hell is happening in my life, like why do all these negative stuff happen to me, or why they're like drawn down to that lower density state. And yeah, like we have the opportunity that we're like self-aware, like you can observe yourself and like stop and see like what you're going through, acknowledge it, and actually consciously choose to work with it rather than choose to ignore it and like push it aside. So you can watch Netflix or do something else.
Right.
And it doesn't take much time or energy. Basically, you just have to commit yourself to it. Like maybe each day, like sit down for 5 minutes and just start to breathe and like clear yourself and just feel who you are, like how do you feel and like what you're going through, and just like be honest with yourself, like what you're going through, and acknowledge it is like that's like the first step basically through the whole process. And if you're open to like to work with yourself and to transform it, then that was like an awesome time to do it, because like everything supports that. So if you have a clear intent to, okay, like I have to work with these, I have problems and I want to work with it and I want to go past it, basically. I had enough of it and I want to move on. And yeah, like all the energies, guides, and synchronicities will come in to assist you in that process. And basically you have to kind of recognize that, oh, like everything can flow very easily if I commit to that road, basically. And if I, it's also the message that we have published, I think like 2 days ago from Blue Eagle. And it was about like surrendering to the whole process rather than like going with the ego mind and forcing stuff. And just, like the key, in my opinion, to the whole spiritual thing is, and manifestation, is like surrendering to the process and like being in the flow of your higher self, because we're like so used to being in the ego mind, which is like a control freak, and you want to control and force everything to be this a specific way. And in spirituality and like energy work and all that stuff, that just doesn't work. Like if you want to force something, I think it just stops and just you kill the energy of it, basically, because those higher vibrational energies just cannot exist in that dense environment of like the ego mind who's trying to control stuff. Like that's very 3D, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're still going through that, that's perfectly fine. Like we all do from time to time. We're all like going in and out of that state, basically. But yeah, like also recognize that if you're doing that, and like, okay, like I consciously choose to stop and just, like take a deep breath and like examine like what you're doing, or especially if, like, I think like many of us are going through that you're going through your day or something happens and stuff just accumulate during your day, like negative stuff, or you're very busy, and it's almost like, I don't know, like it's something like the hamster wheel, that you're almost like an autopilot. You're just doing stuff and like just going forward.
Right.
And yeah, just sometimes just stop and like observe yourself, especially if you're doing something that is like out of alignment with who you are. Just catch yourself and stop for a moment, like take a deep breath and like, okay, like what was I doing? Why am I doing these stuff, or why am I having these thoughts, basically? Because that's also a great indicator that like you're not in the right path, or not in the path that you originally wanted to be on. But yeah, like we live in a chaotic world, so it's completely normal to have those experiences.
Right. And it's all the stuff's growing pains. Like, you know, like the best analogy that I keep being given, I'm shown a lot of visual stuff. Like it's like storyline kind of stuff is how I get information. It's really interesting. But like it started to be like the screwdriver. You get to have a screwdriver, you know, and my goal is to build a house. And all I get is a screwdriver, you know, really. And you have to learn everything about that screwdriver, you know, before you get to have a screw. And now you get to screw something in, you know. This is long down the road before you actually get to cut any lumber. You know, you're still like, and that's because we've already had all this stuff, you know. That's why our DNA is so mysterious, you know, that 90 to 95% of our DNA that was considered junk is now that they're finally like, oh, cool. Guess what, guys? It's dormant DNA. Duh. You know, like, I mean, something as amazing as creating a human or some kind of species like us, they wouldn't throw all their garbage in it, you know? And so that's always been a joke to me, but they're finally admitting it. And what's happening is this DNA is now being turned on. This dormant DNA is being activated by a variety of things. One of the most notable ones is that whenever we get a solar flare, everybody in unison has these experiences where they can actually tell what's happening, you know, that something's happening, some kind of upgrade. But you know, what's occurring in this space right now is it's intensifying the energy of basically like a dark night of the soul, only it's beautiful and a really good thing. And when you brought up ego, I really wanted to go back to that, because that is affecting a lot of, an ego is a program running in the background to make sure that you're going to stick around. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The problem is, because everybody talks about the death of the ego and it's so important to get rid of it. For me, when I really understood what the ego was, I real at that time, my ego was not just the driver of the car. It was the car. It was the fuel. It was the road. It was the map. You know, I didn't have any control of it. When the ego is meant to be not even in the passenger seat, but maybe in the back seat, you know, and like, ego has a good function in our experience. It's just that knowing in those moments as they come up, what's the difference? Is this my ego that's trying to get me to do something that's more comfortable? Because it wants us to stay in a place of comfort. So that's more predictably a place that you will thrive and live. And, you know, so it's doing its job, but without us moving beyond our comfort right now, you know, we aren't, that's what really the healing is. It's moving beyond that comfort, the place that you know what's going to happen every day, you know. And when we let things kind of go into that place of ignorance, you know, or ignoring it and just kind of dismissing it at the moment, it's just like, you know, that phone call that you're supposed to do that you just don't want to do. And so you just, you know, you don't ever get around to it, but every moment of all of those days that you're thinking about doing it, but not wanting to, it colors all of those moments. It affects and pulls the joy of that moment down a bit, you know. And it's the same thing, only in a more intense way, that these things are coloring every moment that we're in and have been for a long time. And so your ego will come in often to try to say not to do that. Leave it there. This is what we're used to. And just because you're used to it doesn't mean it's a good thing, you know. And you know, inside, you can feel it. You have the most amazing, spiritual discernment. We are the universe's lie detectors. You know what's BS and what's real, and so it's just figuring out the difference between your voice and the one of the ego. That made any sense? I might have rambled in a lot of different directions just now.
Yeah, like just as Master Yoda said, like, how was it in the training? I think Luke asked, like, how do you know the dark side from the good one or something? And he said, like, if your mind is clear, then you will know. But yeah, like if you're like jumping around and running around all day, then your mind is not clear and you will not know like what is happening and like what you're being dragged into, basically. And yeah, like what I wanted to add to it is the ego is like, it's like the driver or like the operating system for a lower dimensional reality, basically. It is there to assist you in surviving in a harsh, three-dimensional environment. And it is there to keep you alive, basically. And that's why ego wants everything to be safe, like everything to be predictable, the way it knows it's okay for it. And that's why it's so scared of like moving out of the comfort zone. But like if you stay in the comfort zone, like you cannot evolve or grow because you're just repeating the same thing that you've been doing so far.
Right.
So yeah, like challenging yourself in a beneficial way can be very constructive too. So you can take it like like a great adventure or like, yeah, like an opportunity to grow, basically, to evolve in a new direction. And that's kind of how I like retrain myself on like taking on difficult stuff. I was like, okay, like, I think like all of us have from time to time those stuff that we like try to avoid consciously doing.
Right.
Those
Right.
phone calls, like calling up your aunt who isn't
Right.
really in a good relationship with you, but you need to meet because of something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Exactly.
okay, like that's a challenging situation, but like let's, I don't know, like center yourself on like, let's move through that energy somehow. And yeah, like you learn new skills, like how to communicate and like how to navigate difficult situations. And yeah, like it's a very good skill to have on a long run, because maybe like 5 years from now, you're really going to need that for some reason, which you don't really know at this time currently.
Right.
But like looking back on my journey the past 30 plus years, like I've tried out so many stuff and I learned so many seemingly random things throughout my life. And after a few decades, like stuff started to align, and I started to like realize like, oh, like this is why I was so interested in specific stuff, because now it's very crucial in what I'm doing right now.
Right.
And like all that stuff is like coming together and forming
Exactly.
a new picture, and who knows later on what will come of it. I'm not sure.
Right. It's a stairway. Every step prepares you for the next step. And until you can fully master and understand what the space that you're in, you can't move on to the next one. It's a lot like a video game. Like if you joined the game and didn't like figure out any of the tutorial stuff and just went to level 100 without any of the gear and training and so on, there'd be no way that you could,
You would be fried.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same concept, and it may feel like we're repeating things. And that's not because you haven't resolved some things there. It's just that there's deeper and deeper layers that cannot be resolved until the first layer has been uncovered, and so it looks like a spiral, we spiral back around to it, but it's deeper and deeper layers. You're going farther and farther into the pit of whatever it is. And so that's something else too that's happening a lot for a lot of people too, is there's that frustration. I already dealt with this. Well, obviously you did some of it, and now you're here looking at this part, like you can't just chop the top of a tree off. Not that I want to, but just that's my example. And then say that tree is gone. You have many other layers of it, and then the root system and, all this, everything that goes into it. And so it's a beautiful, wonderful experience. It's just that a lot of us have been conditioned to live in the contrary way. And so it's become our normal. our normal of just not dealing with whatever's in front of us, you know, and because that's for whatever reason, whoever, that does help you to stay operating at a lower frequency. It's an anchoring. They used to call it karmic anchoring. And then I don't think we abolished karma. Karma went away. It's weird. There's no karma left anymore. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, and so it's no longer karmic anchoring, but there's anchoring in these energy spaces. In fact, some of the stuff that's coming up for us to deal with isn't even yours. That's a crazy one. It's not even ancestral healing. It's healing of these pockets, these residual pockets. Like you pull back and look at Earth and you see these, they're only gray because of the density. They're not bad. It's just these little pockets of grayness, like little places of oil on the planet. And they're these little, it looks like kites all around the planet of these energies that are they're trapped. And so as these things come up for us, as we see these things for somebody else, you don't have to do anything with it. It's just being seen. When that is seen and no longer ignored, that energy can move on. And so you become the liberator of souls, not even knowing that you're doing it, just feeling like you're going crazy because you're seeing every once in a while these random images, or having strange pangs of discomfort in your body, or all of a sudden just weird sensations or aromas. We all different sense these things differently, but a lot of it that's coming up isn't even yours. I'm just saying that for you to understand, you don't have to figure out where it fits. That's judgment. It's just, it existed. And even to thank it for its service, like that having been there needed to be there at that moment. Now it's just stuck. And thank you for your service. It's time for you to go. And then to release it with love. And it goes on its way. And it's so cool. And the more that we do that, the bigger the planet looks, the more vibrant the colors, and the larger the planet is. It's like she's growing every time we release these things. It's really cool.
Yeah, like there's less pollution energetically in the whole collective, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like we also talked about it in the past year, that some of us are like drawn to maybe specific places,
right,
where like events took place, or maybe these souls or energies are drawn to you, or I know, like people who are working with these types of stuff, and they're drawn to you because like you're like a ticket out of there.
yeah,
You're like this portal who is able to connect with the higher realms, and you can like release that energy if you consciously choose to work with it. But yeah, like we also talked about it, it can be also overwhelming if you don't set boundaries, because you're like an open door if you don't state like, okay, like what is okay with me and what I don't want to experience, then like you don't have any rules or regulations like how it can go with you. So anyone who can come will come, because it's, I don't know, like it's, you can work on it 24/7, or you have no limitations on what can be done or achieved. So yeah, like if you feel overwhelmed by energies coming in, or you're like perceiving so many stuff, or like new stuff that you haven't seen so far or haven't felt so far, then like feel free to, I don't know, like set rules and boundaries on what you can experience. Like it's okay, like if you're experimenting with it, but like being exposed all the time is not very beneficial. Not just because it like drags your attention away, because it can also like fracture your, I know, like your energy too. Like you're spreading thin over too many places at once. It can drain your energy, because we're like not used to functioning that way so far. As you were saying, like we're still activating dormant parts in us. And yeah, like we have to learn how those function, and how can you integrate that in your day-to-day life.
right.
And what can you do with it in a grounded way, so it doesn't take away from your day-to-day reality, basically.
Exactly. One of the things that I found useful, that because again I'm so visual, that I'll set an intention, and usually I'll speak it. Hey, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. I always see that number when I'm around Guardian. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, is all with intention, and I bring in archangels, specific archangels for that moment, whatever feels right to me at that moment, and I'll ask for the volume to be turned down. And at the same time, I visualize like an old school radio knob. The dial maybe will be up to 100 at that time, and I'll turn it down to 90 or even down to 10. I don't turn it all the way off, but it helps. That visualization is saying, right now, I can't do this as much as it was coming in, and like, that also is something we need to do. We need to, without us requesting, without us saying that there's something that we need, a lot of times intervention cannot occur, so turning down the ascension symptoms, turning down all of this stuff that's coming in with the Lion's Gate, turning down whatever it is that you're going through right now is perfectly acceptable. It's just that no one knows how you're doing, if you're still just doing it. And, so again, reaching out to the archangels is a typical response from that I do, and say, request assistance in either it's a broad topic or a specific thing, and they will always come. It's just that there's the law of free will. And with such, unless it's a dire circumstance, they won't intervene without your consent, and so requesting for them to come is like you're releasing them because they want to help you out, and as we disperse our energy out, we can pull it back, and it's true. It does pull it when we're doing too, especially with all these different parallel, because, time isn't real. And we're in this experience of trying to figure out how to do this, not time, with a linear mindset. And so I've done this a lot too. And it made me ill. Not ill. I was just really, really profoundly tired because I was touching too many places and doing too many things at the same time. I mean, it's exhilarating to be able to sense your physical form and doing what it's doing while you're up in outer space in astral doing something else. Like, that's exhilarating, but it wears you out. And
like,
so
we're not used to functioning that way.
Yeah. And most of Guardian's meditations that you've done, and as well as others, at the end of the meditation, usually there's something about calling back your fractals. And that's what we're talking about, is bringing back all these places that you got your fingers in right now and forgot that you're doing it. And, pulling all of your energy back to center into your complete form. And at that point, then you can make a decision to what you're going to do next, and you have your full self again. It's not a permanent thing, but it's definitely exhausting until you bring yourself back to center.
Yeah, because like if you go to different places, not just like on astral, but also physically, and also maybe if something not necessarily traumatic, but something very impactful happens to you, like you can leave your parts of your energy at specific places. And if you consciously like don't bring everything back, then it can be very draining, just as you said, because like you're like fracturing yourself and leaving different parts of yourself at different places, and you become like very scattered altogether.
Yeah, exactly. And other experiences too. Some of them are beautiful experiences. We leave parts of ourselves behind just because we're so inclined to relive those moments. It doesn't mean that but yes, pull ourselves back. And we do that. If you do that regularly, you won't notice it, how often you need to do it until you start doing it, and because we do, especially now, we're learning how to vibrate in this new frequency and do all these new cool things. But we're basically toddlers with a screwdriver, and like, there are a lot of, reasons that we are being given, our gifts are turning on stronger, but they're turning on stronger in a very gradual way for that reason, because we don't really know exactly how to vibrate in this space yet. We know how to vibrate. That's not the right way of saying it. We don't really know how to do what it is that we know we need to have, that is natural for us to do. It's, most of this stuff is automatic. That's the craziest part, is that we do it on autopilot. That's why most of it is literally done when you're sleeping. Like, you don't have to do anything about it. the best thing that I can suggest is to do what you can to be in a place of play, of joyful play, like a child. When we go to that inner child space, when we go play in the sand or whatever it is that makes you feel that way. For me, it's dance. A lot of time, dance is a very beautiful way of healing and letting energy release, and also celebrating and bringing your vibration up. If we can find whatever it is that is for us, each individual has something different. It's like that's you plugging in your battery, charging yourself, and another way to do that is to connect with others like you, and just resonating in the same kind of frequency space with others is amazing. That's why, we do these Zoom meetings every week. We do 3 Zoom meetings on my side, and Guardian does this awesome Patreon where there's this community on Discord of people talking and stuff. And then he meets every week and does amazing channelings. Like we did a awesome channelings with his guides yesterday. Yeah. And it's such a cool thing. You go to those groups and all these people are there and they're your family. Like we know each other, and you don't need to explain yourself at all because they already know the backstory because they went through it too. So you can jump into the meat of the story. And even though I'm a vegetarian, I don't know why I said that. But, it's beautiful.
Yeah, with the crazy stuff about the channeling sessions are usually that, I don't know, like everyone comes with a different perspective on something, or everyone is going through something different seemingly, but throughout like 2 hours, like a picture forms, like, I don't like how to, especially like during the channeling session, like everyone has a specific topic or question, which answers different other questions for other people, and like a image forms towards the end of the session, which was very much unexpected at the beginning, but it's very cool too. Yeah.
It is. It's like a big puzzle. And certain meditations that we've done, the same thing happened. I remember we all saw a series of animals that all fit together. It's just beautiful. It always is this beautiful swirly picture. And actually one of the videos that Guardian posted not too long ago came from a question I think that I asked during one of his channels. And that's a good example of what you kind of beautiful stuff comes out in the moment. It's just really cool.
Yeah, like people commented on, I think it's, I released it like 2 weeks ago. It's like only 3 minutes. And people commented on it like, your voice sounds so different. I have an Australian accent when I'm channeling or something.
You do, your accent, you remind me, have you ever seen that series that's called Big Bang Theory?
Oh yeah.
Sheldon Cooper. You have a voice like Sheldon Cooper, and to me,
I know, feel like many people say that I'm very similar to also in behavior, I'm kind of similar to that.
That's awesome.
Many of my friends were like joking around like that I'm like Sheldon, and I never knew like who he was. So when I came together with my wife, we started to watch Big Bang Theory. I was like, oh, well, okay.
That's so funny.
They were right. Okay.
Someone told me when the pandemic started, they were like, this is what Sheldon's been preparing for his whole life. Locked down and sterilized and sanitized.
Yeah, I don't remember. I haven't watched it since, I know, like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
It's been quite some time. Yeah. Yeah, and also regarding the reintegration stuff, I'm going to release this Sunday the message for the Portal 8.8. Awesome. And it's also regarding, it's also addressing the reintegration part. And there is a proclamation in the middle of the message, and I can also read it right now if anyone's interested. It's basically something that you can do like each day, just as you were talking about making a conscious act of like stating that you're like, I want to reintegrate all my fractured selves and energy back into myself, doing this type of maintenance work. And if anyone is interested, this is something that you can do like just in 1 minute. And basically it does very much that. So it says, I'm calling back all fractured selves, reintegrating everything in perfect alignment. I choose to remember I choose to see and understand I'm an infinite cosmic being in the process of reintegration, bringing all into one. And so it is.
And so it is.
Or you can formulate your own version of it. It doesn't need to be this exact words, basically.
I love it. I have the honor to look over things that Guardian writes, just because, you know, English isn't his first language, but it's beautiful. And yeah, I just wanted to say that because what it was funny was when I got to that point, I actually copied that because I wanted to share it in the Telegram community. I was like, I can't share somebody's thing that they didn't post. So I held it in my clipboard so I could share it after you posted your video, because it is profound.
Yeah, like leaking material before it's published, it's not very good.
No, that's not very nice.
I mean,
I didn't do it, but
yeah, I mean, in these cases, it's perfectly fine.
A little sneak peek from undercover style. There's some really amazing things coming through right now for this energy space, and it's just I'm just honored to be here present with all of you. I'm sorry that I have been reading your comments, and that's really cool that a lot of what we have said has resonated with you. I'm sorry I didn't respond to anybody, but it's really cool to have this happening at this time. And oh, we're also going to have a special meditation Zoom on the 8/8 portal through my channel. There'll be a link for that, just so if anyone's interested, come join a group of people. You don't have to have your camera on or your audio, but the more people present in a place of meditation, it's amazing. Like, if you haven't had that experience before, we amplify each other. You know, Guardian and I are just two people, and we're amplifying this massive energy right now. And then you add another and another and another, and the energy that happens in that is just so beautiful. So if you are interested, you're welcome to join. It'll start the same time that this video did, but that'll be on Monday the 8th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I hope I can join too and see what happens. It's going to be your first public meditation. You're going to lead it for the first time.
I've been guided to do it for a while, and I have some hangups, man, you know, but I also struggled for a long time to listen to my guides about starting a YouTube channel. I did not want to do that. And I knew for a long time we're supposed to hold public Zoom meetings, but I didn't do that for a long time. I did it with Guardian and a couple of our other friends, but I'm not very good at following directions. And this doing meditation with other people, I've never opened my mouth. I feel weird talking about what I'm seeing. And so, because stuff comes out, and I am an open channel at that time. So there's this level of lack of control that I wasn't able to get over, but I've gotten told to do it a lot of times. Guardian even told me in a channeling yesterday that I was supposed to do it. So
well, you're not supposed to, but you can do it if you want to.
Right. I mean, it was a suggestion.
Yeah, like, it's a challenge for you to move out of your comfort zone, basically.
Yeah.
And like, for me, the challenging part about like doing guided meditations is like going through the meditation, like holding that energy, and at the same time, like focusing on actually speaking what I'm seeing or what I'm supposed to do. Like, that's usually my challenge in the whole stuff. It's like to be in like those both places, to actually do the meditation, but still like share it with people so they can tap into that energy too.
Right. Yeah. I could see how that would be difficult. Again, that's spreading your energy. You know, you're reaching different spaces at the same time.
Dividing your attention, basically. That's kind of difficult in those states, basically.
Especially if a cat comes. Every time that Guardian's channeling for me and answering my specific question, Fritzy shows up. And it's so funny. One time his tail rubbed against Guardian's nose, and it was like it was so awesome. I love it.
Well, I didn't enjoy it very much.
Sorry.
In that state, I'm very sensitive. Yeah. Yeah, like also when I learned about hypnotherapy, it's like one of the guidelines: if someone is in trance, you don't touch that person.
Right. That's fair. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So anything regarding the lion gates, like can you share anything practical that how we can prepare for it, maybe?
Yeah.
Other than
There's
the reintegration part.
right. There's the so that's why we're getting, why is my answer for, we're getting a lot more solar flares, and they've been coming in and helping us for a while. And that's been activating this DNA, right? So in the meantime, we have all this extra, our body needs to be ionized. So the best way to do that, it sounds silly, it's like the thing that you hear all the time now is, Epsom salt baths, Epsom salt baths. But something else that you can do for your environment that I've actually found that's really useful. This is to alleviate physical symptoms, because we also go through a lot of, like, you feel like your body's dizzy, not dizzy, or another way of saying it, it feels like you're fuzzy, and so if you put salt in a body of water near to you, if you don't live near the ocean, this will help ionize this. It ionizes the air for you and assists you in this experience, so it doesn't feel so exhausting and draining for you. And just as things come through, a lot of us are being called to do meditation more. And do meditation more. It's not even so much longer lengths of meditation, but more bursts throughout the day of your 5 to 10 to 15, whatever minutes you have available for you.
Yeah, like just 5 minutes can be super helpful too. You're basically like doing maintenance on yourself on a daily basis. Super helpful. Like oddly enough, in the past 2 weeks, I haven't been meditating.
Yeah.
Only on Patreon sessions.
That's interesting. Yeah. And but if you're also like, I have I bet some people don't have the option to pull away when they want to, right? But you can meditate in the bathroom stall. Like, that sounds weird, but
yeah, that's what I've been doing for 5 years at the office. Like, this was the only place where no one would bother me.
Right. And it doesn't matter what they think or don't think that you're doing in there. You're taking care of yourself. 5 minutes, center yourself, visualize the light coming from source down through your crown chakra, locking in your heart. Then the heart of Gaia, you could see that energy come up through and go through your root chakra, up through your chakras, and lock in your heart chakra. And then to just center yourself. Now you're in this space, and you can flush or don't flush, whatever, and then go on about your day. And now you've recharged yourself, you've assisted yourself. And something crazy, that it's still crazy to me because it's contrary to what I've been taught most of my life, is that helping myself is actually helping others. I've always been taught that was selfish and lazy, and so I didn't take care of myself, and I resonated at a lower frequency than I could have been. Taking care of myself makes it so I can be more available for others, but also while I'm healing and caring for myself, I'm able to send out my vibration is better, and I'm helping more by sending out that vibration that I'm able to channel and anchor into the space that we're in, and assisting everyone else. So taking a nap when you need a nap is not lazy. That is not only, and not just self-care, but care of all, and we are all connected. We're like one thriving organism, like the rainforest.
Yeah, like we're in each other's bubbles, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also wanted to say, like, while we were, I think like 20 minutes ago or so, like, and now it came up again, this whole notion that, okay, like we're service to others, and like taking care of yourself is not being service to others.
Right.
And also, yeah, it came up regarding when you're like receiving all these impressions and beings coming into your field of attention who are seeking to be released, and you can like overwork yourself on like, I'm being service to them and I'm assisting them 24/7, 7 days a week, and basically you're burning yourself out by doing that. And yeah, like that's not helping them either. You kind of like have to find this balance between resting and like doing your own stuff and doing that as well in the meantime, so you can do it more effectively, basically.
Yeah. And knowing that we are all fingers of the same hand, you're bringing up that experience for everyone around you, and what's really cool is it's as if each one of us, we all are resonating there, but it's like we have a slightly different color that makes up the whole rainbow. And so each of us, we may be, wow, my ears are ringing so strong right now.
It's 22:55 around here.
Right on. That, we're each an important part of this amazing thing that's occurring, and to lose any shade of that rainbow would make it incomplete. And so I don't even know why I was saying any of that. My ears started ringing, and like I just needed to finish saying that part. I don't remember what that was meant to be leading to. I got distracted.
No, it's perfectly fine. Like also Joey has shared, have you read the document put out by Jason Chokra? Can you find it? You can find it on YouTube. It's called The Pyramid Code. It's an amazing revelation. He says he's part of the light system. Yeah, I just searched it up on YouTube. It's an audiobook. It's like 3 hours long. I will have to check it out. Like, I'm very much into pyramid stuff.
It is really cool. I actually listened to it about a year ago or so. And he's actually the one that was on Lori Ladd's YouTube videos a lot for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He so he's actually the author of the book. The person who the story is of, or the person that wrote the book exactly, is not named, because they're still part of this secret light society. I didn't say it right, and I apologize for the not light society, but it's beautiful and there's so much symbolism in there. And as I was listening to it, there were so many things that I already knew, like the number of pyramids that we actually have on this planet and how many there used to be. And like when that came up, I was like, okay, this is actually the dope. This is the stuff, like, because no one else had ever told me that before. It was just something that I've just always kind of felt was true. So it was just really, it's pretty interesting. Information's coming out all over the place right now.
Yeah, all shall be unveiled.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing all the time.
Exactly. And just remember, you're not alone, when you're going through this right now. For me, in the years before I knew what Lionsgate was, this time of year, I actually became very suicidal. This time of year was hard on me because I didn't know what was happening, and that's why I feel like it's so important to be available for you all right now, is that you're not alone. And this is temporary. What's happening, when you know what's happening, it's so much easier to do it, and knowing that it's got an expiration date on it. Like I tend to previously get this thing I used to call foreverism, that whatever I was experiencing was going to be like that forever, and to pull myself from that mindset and know this is temporary. All things are temporary, but this is very temporary, and you're going to be, just fine as these energies come through. Just know that they're not meant to be absorbed by you. They're meant to only be seen by you, witnessed by someone, and acknowledged for their existence so they can be released with love. That's all, and that is why I believe strongly that message from Archangel Michael has been coming through for so much. Acknowledge without judgment and release, over and over and over and over again. I've been saying it forever as well, because I've been prompted to. And I think this is why, because right now, a lot of people don't know what to do with these things as they flash before them. They're not meant for you to absorb. They're not your identity, nothing for you to understand. You don't have to pull it apart and dissect it to understand it. It simply is. And it was a beautiful service that it provided. So I tend to thank it and then send it with love. When I send it with the energy of love, I'm sending it out. Someone said something so groundbreaking to me a little while ago in one of our meetings. I think it was on a Patreon of Guardians. I never thought of it before. But someone said, I don't recall who, but they said that all this time people were we're having these experiences with these lingering energies, also known as hauntings or ghosts, and they would send them to the light, and no one knew they were sending them to us. And I was like, of course, that's why that we're already a lighthouse, and we do draw in a lot of these energies because we're able to assist them to move on and forward. However, we're also being these energies are being guided to us by others. Hey, go over there. She knows what to do. And and you don't even know what's happening. It just is coming in. It's not meant to hurt you or to cause you distress. It's not. It just wants to be acknowledged, and that's it. And then sent along in its journey. And how to produce you can create a tunnel of light. You can send love to it, just the energy of it, just, what it feels like when you're saying I love you to somebody, just send that same experience out. And it gives it the oomph, the energy that it needs to get out, up and past that space. And that's all.
Yeah, like create a safe space around you, and for this whole interaction as well with Archangel Michael, or call upon your guides or with whomever you're connected with to like guide this whole process. And especially to like work with Archangel Michael to create this safe, sacred space, like nothing can interfere in that state. Right. And also you can feel more confident and safe in those situations too. Because sometimes like very icky energies can come through to you to be released. And if you're like not grounded or centered, it can overwhelm you. Like it depends on like what can come into your field or present itself to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but it can happen. So don't overwhelm yourselves with those experiences.
Right. And I want to highlight Domingo and say, you're okay. You're not alone. A lot of us are here in this experience, and just reach out. It seems hard, but you'll be surprised by how many of us reach back. And like I said, tomorrow I'm having a Zoom meeting that's free at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah,
okay,
like the best remedy for this whole situation, like feeling alone, is like reaching out to people and connecting with them. And like your Zoom meetings are an awesome place to do it. Like it's super private. It's like not aired or anything.
Yeah.
And as you said, like, yeah, or you don't have to show your face or say anything, basically.
Exactly. And it's
still,
free.
Yeah, and your energies are still interacting with the other people, and you're in the same space, basically, energetically, with your own people, basically.
Right. Yeah. It's your family. It's your tribe, and it's definitely been a way of finding our soul family, and connecting to other people who, even just being in this space, it's like all of a sudden you realize you're in this place where everyone understands you. You're with your people. My name is Higher Vibrations. I have a YouTube channel also.
Yeah, it's in the title of the video, the link to her channel.
Yeah, thank you. And I also post the link for each of our meetings in my community section for anyone who wants to join. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, also
much.
I wanted to also say you can type while you're in the Zoom call, and I'll read your comment for you too if you don't feel like speaking. A lot of people come that way without the camera on, without their audio on, and you see their icon, every couple, for a couple times, and then suddenly they start to speak. And then after a while, sometimes they'll turn their camera on. A lot of us do have our cameras on, but it's not a requirement, and like Guardian said, we're still connecting. We're still in this space together, even if we don't see your face.
Yeah, it's an awesome place to connect. I haven't had the pleasure to join you guys for some time. Yeah. But yeah, like also I think Holding the Light mentioned that there aren't many divine masculine representatives in the spiritual community. But you said that you have your own divine masculine corner, or like, how do you call those rooms? Chat rooms or something?
I had divine masculine groups inside, but actually we're down to a couple, only like 3 or 4 regulars now that are men. Cosmin went into the rainforest and disappeared for a while. He's okay. He's doing something amazing. But every person kind of has gone off on their own spiritual journey recently. So there's not a lot of men. There's probably, I guess, 5 men now.
Mhm.
And yeah, we create breakout rooms every meeting. Sometimes they end up being a dream interpretation room. There's a dream specialist that comes to those meetings, and anything that we do with each other is free. Like we'll do healings and stuff. It's just really cool. It feels like what happens when you go to what's supposed to happen when you go to a family and say, hey, you know, what's going on with you? And then people get chatting and they realize there's, you know, that person's struggling right now. And then someone's getting channeled information. And I channel so visually and like with like symbols and stuff. Then there's somebody who does dream interpretation. So they're interpreting all the symbols for them. And then we do group healing. And it's so cool. It's a lot of fun. And you just get to be in a space that you know that you're not alone and that people are there to support you. And, you know, some people that are waking up right now, being in a room with people who've been doing the awakening for a few weeks also, but also decades. You know, it's so great because then you have somebody who's been through what you're going through and can maybe give some suggestions that feel okay for you to do in your life, you know, and that will assist you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all on you if you want to connect or you don't.
Yeah.
But it's like a superb remedy for this whole loneliness phase of the awakening process. And now with the magic of the internet, you can connect with like-minded people, even though if we're like separated like hundreds of or thousands of miles, basically. But now we can all come together and connect with each other. So use the tools that are available to you.
Uh-huh.
And so it is. So thank you for joining us, High Vibrations.
Thank you.
Thank you for everyone who has joined us live, and lots of love to you if you've been watching so far the replay. And have an awesome weekend, everyone, and have a great Portal 8/8 on Monday. And see you soon. Bye.